Haunted House Studios presents Somnarium. Episode 3: The Winning Streak. Before I start, I heard it too. At the end of the last file, that faint knocking, like someone tapping on a window. I checked and double-checked, it's there. It's not on my mic track, so I don't know how it snuck in. Anyway, whatever. Something else happened when I pulled the next batch. One loose file popped up by itself. No folder, no label, just sitting there like it wanted to be found. It wasn't a patient record, it read like a personal note from Dr. Renwick. No names, no dates, just her for a page or two. And right behind it was a folder I can't open. Encrypted, properly, not password on a Word document, real encryption, like someone made sure it would stay shut. I tried the obvious stuff, nothing. I'll keep trying, but I might have to call a friend. Then I pulled another folder. Third one that's readable enough to make any sense of. Dated early 2003, and oh boy, this one's a doozy. The patient this time isn't sympathetic, at least not on paper. He's a lawyer, corporate, the kind of person who talks like the world is a machine, and if you're smart enough, rich enough, ruthless enough, you can make it do what you want. And here's the part that made me sit back in my chair for a minute. While his personal life is coming apart, and I mean falling off a cliff, he keeps winning at work. Big wins, clean wins, the kind of streak that turns into arrogance you can't shake, like the universe is still signing off on him, even as it's taking everything else. He writes like that's proof, like if he keeps winning cases, then whatever's happening outside the courtroom is just temporary, a hiccup, a thing he'll handle. Spoiler, he doesn't handle it. He doubles down, he tightens his grip on every small thing, every plan, every promise, every routine, every little comfort, and the tighter he holds on, the harder his life bites back. He does start to change though. It's all over the place. He's still trying to write like he's in charge, like this is just a list of problems he's about to solve, but you can hear him coming loose between the lines. The entries start lurching from one disaster to the next, like he can't decide which fire to put out first. One minute he's furious, the next he's bargaining, then he's reassuring himself, then he's blaming someone else, and then it's back to handled. He's trying to hold on to everything at once. Money, reputation, routine, the apartment, the car, the image, and the harder he grips, the more it all slips through his fingers. The pages turn into this frantic attempt to pin his life down before he loses it all. File label on the recovered index is damaged. Most of the name is gone, but there's a number stamped on the intake note. 02. And in the upper right corner, just like the previous case, there's a single word written. Dr. Brine. I stopped there and tried to look him up. Old directories, registries, anything. And I can find no trace of a Dr. Brine. Case of Richard Hargrove, first seen by Dr. Susan Renwick on January 23, 2003, for sleep disturbance, recurring nightmares, and an escalating fear of everything slipping out of his control. Email referral from Miriam, last name and email redacted, to Dr. Susan Renwick, email redacted. Subject, private referral. Dear Susan, it's been a while since we last spoke. We should really meet up for a coffee sometime. It's been far too long. I'm reaching out with a private referral, if you're able to help. A personal friend of mine, Rick Hargrove, of Hargrove & Price, attorneys at law, has been struggling with his sleep and it's starting to bleed into his day-to-day. He's not the easiest personality, but he's genuinely not coping as well as he thinks he is. If you have any way to squeeze him in for an initial consult in the next couple of weeks, I'd really appreciate it. I can have him work around whatever slot you can spare. Thank you, Susan. Warmly, Miriam. Intake transcription. It seems that the patient got priority treatment due to the private referral, and an intake was done in Dr. Enwick's practice by her staff. It was recorded on tape, but all I could recover was a transcript of the conversation. This intake transcript is one-sided, only Hargrove's side got recorded. Patient Richard Hargrove. Date January 23rd, 2003. Subject In-practice intake, transcription of tape recording. Richard Hargrove. Can we get this over with? Just let me see Dr. Enwick already. Fine. It's on the form. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, blood thinners. Heart rhythm thing, it's managed. No, I don't need medication. Social, not a problem, not relevant. I smoke. No drugs, not that kind of guy. Look, I'm not here for a lifestyle audit. What's happening is I'm not sleeping. I fall asleep late, I wake up early, and then I'm just on autopilot. My brain doesn't shut off. Fine, you want a number? 3 hours. 4 on a good night. Nightmares? I don't know. Dreams? Whatever. They're not the point. During the day? No, I can do my job just fine. I'm not seeing things, I'm not hearing things, I'm not fucking crazy. Stressors? Nothing I can't handle. Things are busy. It's called having a career. Fear of losing control. I wrote that because your form demanded I write something. I don't fear things. I solve them. Attorney. Corporate. Hargrove and Price, attorneys at law. No prior psych, no history, none of this bullshit. My goal today? To get some fucking sleep. To get back to normal. And to stop wasting my goddamn time on questions that don't fix anything. Consultation note. On the same day, there's a consultation note, but the beginning of the file is corrupted. The first readable page is Hargrove's personal account of what led up to that first appointment. Patient Richard Hargrove. Date January 23rd, 2003. Subject Initial consultation, transcription of tape recording. The first 2 pages are unrecoverable. On the night of the corporate New Year's reception, I can tell you the date if you want. I can tell you what I was wearing. I can tell you who was in the room and which partners laughed too loud at the wrong jokes. Because that's what I do. I keep receipts, I keep timelines, I keep things accounted for. And up until that night, everything was. Work was fine, better than fine. I was winning. I still am. What started that night was small. Pathetic, honestly. The kind of thing that should take one call, one apology, and be done. The valet lost my ticket. That's it. A little paper stub and a blank stare. They had my car, they had my keys, and they kept telling me to just wait a moment, like I was some drunk idiot outside a club and not someone with a name that gets calls returned. I'm standing there in a room full of people who clock weakness instantly, and I'm being told to wait. So I don't wait, I don't smile, I don't play nice. I start making calls, I find a manager, then I find their manager. I make it clear that this is going to become expensive and public if it doesn't get fixed in the next 5 minutes. Eventually, someone important appears, nodding like they're doing me a favor, and promises it'll be handled. And it still isn't. Because by the time they find the car, the system's already rolled forward without me. A fee, a discrepancy, a hold. Little words that mean you don't get your property back when you're supposed to. Little words that turn into more little words and you can't argue with them because there's nothing to argue with. It's just a screen somewhere saying no. And that's when it starts. Not the valet, not the ticket, that doesn't matter now. It's what happened after. How nothing stayed fixed. How every time I corrected one thing, 2 more were already waiting. The hold meant I missed a call, and I don't miss calls. All because I was standing in a lobby arguing with a kiosk and a night manager about whether my car was in their system. By the time I realized my phone had been ringing, it was over. 1 missed call, voicemail from my bank, calm voice, urgent words, please call us back, like they were doing me a favor. And I still didn't have my car. So I took a taxi home. Midnight. Rain. The driver was talking at me like we were friends, like my night was a story he was entitled to. I didn't answer. I stared out the window and watched the city slide by, thinking about how much money people can spend and still end up in the back seat of someone else's vehicle because a kiosk says no. I got home late, irritated and wired, and I slept. Maybe an hour. 2. Not real sleep, that half sleep where you're still solving problems in your head. Next morning, that voicemail turns into an automated message from my bank about unusual activity, which is funny because the only unusual thing is that I'm being asked to prove I'm me, like identity is a subscription that can lapse. So I call, I verify, I answer the security questions, I do everything right. They tell me it'll be cleared within 24 hours. It isn't. So now I have a car issue that's supposed to be resolved but is still processing, and I have a bank issue that's supposedly resolved but still pending. And I still have court, clients, deadlines. The day doesn't stop because the system says pending. I go to pay something, rent, utilities, whatever, and it fails. Then something else fails. Then at lunch my card declines in front of someone who shouldn't ever see it decline. And the moment you get that look, that tiny flicker of judgment, it hits you how fast status turns into a question mark. And while that's happening, and this is the part nobody wants to hear, I'm still winning. Not doing okay, not hanging in there, winning. I took a case that should have been a slow bleed into settlement and I ended it in one shot. Full dismissal, clean, public, the kind of win that makes people stop calling your opponent back. You must have seen it on the news. I'm not saying that to brag, I'm saying it because it matters, because it proves I'm not slipping. I'm not falling apart, I'm not some overwhelmed idiot mismanaging his life. I walked out of that courtroom and the cameras were there. People smiling, saying my name like it meant something. And then I tried to go home. Except my car still wasn't where it was supposed to be. Overnight, the valet situation had escalated. That's the word they used. Escalated. Like it was a weather event. Somebody had logged it wrong and now the car wasn't in their lot. It was in some contracted facility across town. Impound adjacent. Chain link fence. Office hours. Paperwork. Fine. Annoying, but fine. I can handle annoying. Until they tell me there's a release fee. And my card declines. Because the bank hold that was supposed to clear within 24 hours is still there. Still pending. Still protecting me from myself. So I'm standing there, fresh off a win that made the news, being told I can't retrieve my own car because 2 separate systems have decided I don't get to. So I do what I always do. I tighten the grip. I start making calls from the parking lot, from the taxi, from the hallway outside conference rooms. I send emails with people CC'd who shouldn't need to be involved. I lean on favors, I name drop, I turn minor problems into urgent ones because urgency is the only language these systems seem to understand. And it works. In pieces. Little wins, little confirmations, little "we're so sorry, Mr. Hargrove." But nothing stays fixed. Every correction spawns a follow-up. Every follow-up creates a new queue. A new department, a new policy, a new person telling me it's out of their hands. Like once you've been tagged as a problem, everything you touch starts demanding proof you didn't need yesterday. So don't tell me it's stress. Stress is what people use as an excuse when they can't keep up. This is different. This is me losing control. After that, it turns into a routine. A stupid, exhausting routine. Every morning, I wake up already behind. I check voicemail, emails, bank alerts, whatever new issue spawned overnight. I make calls until someone answers. I get transferred, I get put on hold. I get promised callbacks that never come, and I start the same conversation with a new voice and new policy like the last 2 hours didn't happen. Then I go to work and I win anyway. I stand in court and I sound calm, I'm sharp, I'm prepared, I watch people fold. I take the compliments, I take the handshake, I take the camera. I'm the one in control in that room. And then I step outside and my phone has 3 new messages that all mean the same thing. Not fixed. A processing delay, a technical error, a review, another form, another signature, another proof of address, another request for documentation I've already provided. I start getting folders, copies, receipts, like that should matter to a system that doesn't even remember what it asked me yesterday. But the worst part is the timing. Everything waits until the end of the day, after office hours, right when there's nobody left to reach. That's when the automated emails hit. That's when the lines go dead. That's when I'm lying in bed staring at the ceiling and my brain starts replaying the whole thing, hunting for the exact moment I let it start. So I stop sleeping properly. I stop eating properly. I start counting hours like they're money. And the more tired I get, the more I slip. Small things, embarrassing things. I misplace paperwork. I reread the same paragraph 5 times and it doesn't stick. I catch myself staring at a wall mid-thought like someone hit pause and forgot to press play again. I start snapping at people for breathing too loudly near me. Because if there's a reason this is happening, if there's some step I missed, some rule I didn't follow, I need to find it. I need to correct it. I need to put everything back where it belongs. And then the nightmares start to line up. Same place, over and over. A dentist office. Specifically, the waiting room. Those hard plastic seats, outdated magazines, a closed door with a little frosted window, and screaming behind it. Muffled, like it's happening in the walls. And then the drill starts, that high, clean whine. Constant, patient, like it could go all night. My name gets called. Mr. Hargrove. I stand up, and I'm not walking toward the door. I'm walking to the reception desk. Again. The receptionist slides a clipboard across without looking at me. More forms. Same forms. Different forms. A new page inserted between 2 I've already signed. I fill them out, I sign, I date, I hand them back. Please take a seat and wait until we call your name. I sit. I hear the drill again, still whining, but louder now, more intense. And the screaming, from behind the door with a little frosted window. And then my name gets called again. Mr. Hargrove. Over and over like a loop, like I'm being processed, like I'm never actually going to make it through that door. I'm just going to keep sitting down, standing up, and proving I'm allowed to be here. Always more paperwork, always another procedure to follow. And then, I just wake up, jaw sore from clenching all night, and the day starts all over again. Sleep Diary. Friday, January 24th, 2003. Okay, so the doc wants me to write down how my nights are going and anything notable that happens during the day that might increase my stress levels and influence my sleep pattern. So far, that makes sense, so let's do this. Last night, I was in the waiting room of the dentist's office again, waiting my turn. Mr. Hargrove. They called my name, and the next thing I know, I'm walking to the reception desk again. The receptionist slid a clipboard with a form toward me, expecting me to fill it in. Like always, I fill in the form, sign it, date it, and slid the clipboard back. Please take a seat and wait until we call your name. When I was walking back towards those uncomfortable plastic chairs, I noticed a picture frame on the wall. It was a group photo, a man in a doctor's coat, and what I can only assume are nurses on either side of him. The picture was blurry, so I could only make out the shapes, but it was the first time I noticed it hanging there. I sat down, and as soon as I hit the chair, I could once again hear the whining of the drill. And that's when the screaming started again. Muffled, like always, like it was happening in the walls. I don't know how long I sat there, listening to that abhorrent noise coming from behind the door with a little glass window. It could have been seconds, minutes, even hours, I can never tell. Maybe that's because it's a dream. Mr. Hargrove. Yet again they called my name, so once again I walked to the reception desk. The receptionist, like clockwork, slid a clipboard with a form toward me. And just as I'm about to pick it up, she grabbed me by the arm. Her hand was so pale and skinny, with the skin pulled tight over the knuckles, like all of the life had been sucked out of it. I shot awake, heart racing. I immediately reached for my jaw because yet again it felt sore, like I had been clenching it all night long. When I finally got out of bed, the day was the same loop it's been all week. The car's been sitting in that contracted holding lot for days now. Not technically impound, because nobody wants to use that word, but it's impound. Chain link fence, floodlights, thick glass, and a tone that says you're guilty until the screen clears you. I've already been there twice. I've already done the counter, the forms, we can't release it without authorization. The authorization that the valet company insists they sent. The holding lot insisting they never received. So today I go again, because waiting politely is how you lose. They tell me the same thing. There's a release fee and a storage fee. Fine. Annoying, but fine. I try to pay and my card declines. Of course it does. Because the bank hold is still pending, still under review, still for my protection, which is a phrase that makes me want to break something. So I step outside and I call the bank again. I verify again. I answer security questions again. I get transferred again. I'm told it'll clear within 24 hours again. I go back to the window and ask what else they'll take. Cash? No. Has to be on the record. Check? No. Alternate card? Same decline. Because now everything is flagged, like the system is contagious. And the guy behind the glass is calm the entire time. Bored even, like this is normal. Like people don't come apart over this. I leave without the car. Again. And then, because of course this is how my life works right now, I walk into court that afternoon and I win. Smashing success, clean result, the kind of decision you can hear land in the room. Handshakes after, people calling me brilliant like it's a fact. It made the local news. For an hour, everything behaves. Everything responds to pressure the way it's supposed to. Then I check my phone and it's the same automated message from the bank. The same hold, the same review. Like the world is laughing at me. On the way home, I catch myself rehearsing speeches out loud. Threats, complaints, the exact wording of a letter I'm going to send. The exact person I'm going to address it to. Like if I can phrase it correctly, the world will be forced to behave. I barely ate. I kept making calls until office hours ended and the lines went dead. And by the time night came, I wasn't even tired, just wired. Tight, like I'd been holding my breath for days. Saturday, January 25th, 2003. Same dream again. Dentist's waiting room, hard plastic chairs. Outdated magazines that never change. The drill whining behind the closed door with the little frosted window. The screaming, muffled like it's coming from inside the walls. Mr. Hargrove. My name gets called and I stand up automatically, like I'm trained. Reception desk, clipboard, form. I take the pen and start filling it in. Name, address, date of birth, the same nonsense over and over. I can feel the paper getting soft under my hand like it's been erased and rewritten 100 times. And then I notice something I didn't notice before. The framed photo on the wall, the blurry group shot. It's clearer tonight. Not clear, but closer, like the dream is zooming in. There's a man in a doctor's coat in the center, 2 nurses on either side. Their faces are still smudged out, but the nameplate on his chest isn't. It says, Dr. Bryan. And as soon as I read it, the receptionist stops sliding the clipboard and just holds it there, waiting. Her fingers are wrapped around the edge of it like she's not letting go. Please take a seat, she says, smiling without warmth. And wait until we call your name. I wake up with my jaw sore from clenching, like always. And it's still dark outside. I go straight to my computer and check my bank account. I'm hoping the hold finally cleared so I can get my car back without another circus. It hasn't. Still pending, still under review. Still that same calm little word that means no. So I spent my Saturday doing what I should not have to do. I call the bank, I get transferred, I answer security questions I've already answered. I get the same line, 24 hours. It's always 24 hours. It's what people say when they want you to stop existing. I call the holding lot. They tell me the release authorization is not visible on their end yet. They can't do anything until the system updates. Storage fees are still accruing. They say it like they're reading weather. So I go there, again, in another taxi, again, because I'm not waiting for permission to retrieve my own property. Same counter, same thick glass, same board kid typing with 2 fingers. He asks me to spell my name like I'm the one who misplaced it. Then he tells me the payment won't go through because my account is flagged. So I step outside and call the bank again from the parking lot. I escalate. I ask for the supervisor. I refuse to hang up. I can feel my teeth pressed together so hard it hurts. Like if I clench hard enough, I can force the world into place. Eventually, someone authorizes a one-time override. That's the phrase. One-time override. Like I'm a child getting a special exception. They tell me I have a narrow window before the system reapplies the hold. So, I walk back in, pay immediately, and the gate finally opens. And the moment it opens, another problem appears. Release form. Liability clause. As is. I argue. I demand a revised form. I demand someone with actual authority, they tell me, calmly, politely, to take a seat and wait until they call my name. So I take the seat, and I wait, and I realize I'm counting the minutes like they're insults. When they finally call me back up, it's the same form, nothing changed, the same smile, the same policy. My jaw is aching, my head is pounding, I can taste metal in my mouth, and I don't know why. I sign. Not because I agree, because I need the car back, because I need one thing to stop. They hand me the keys like they're doing me a favor. I get in the car, and I'm still clenching without realizing it. Hands on the wheel, teeth locked, like if I let go for a second something else will get taken. Then, a jolt of pain shoots up from the back of my mouth. Sharp, specific, wrong. I press my tongue against one of my molars, and my stomach turns. It moves. Just a fraction, but it moves. I can't believe it, so I check the rearview mirror like that's going to help. I can't see anything. I open my mouth wider, angle my face, try again. Nothing. Just my own eyes staring back at me, bloodshot and furious. So I drive home like I'm being chased. I get to my apartment, go straight to the bathroom, and lean into the big mirror over the sink. I pull my cheek back with 2 fingers. There it is. Not falling out. Not yet. But loose enough that I can see it shift when I breathe. It aches. A deep, pulsing ache that fills my whole head. I can barely touch it with my tongue without flinching. It's like my body is punishing me for noticing it. And I need it to stop. I stand there for a long minute, gripping the edge of the sink, jaw shaking. Then something in me just snaps. Not a scream, not some dramatic moment, just a decision. Toolbox. Under the bed. I don't even think. I grab the pliers. Back to the mirror. I fit them around the tooth, and I hesitate for half a second, because part of me knows this is insane. And then I pull. The pain is blinding, white hot, absolute. And then release. Not relief, not comfort, just the sudden, sick quiet where the pain was. Like a pressure valve opened. I spit into the sink, blood, saliva, and the tooth in my hand, slick and real, like proof. I rinse my mouth and stare at myself in the mirror, breathing hard. And the worst part is how quickly my brain tries to make it normal. How quickly it starts telling me, good, handled, fixed. Because that's what I do. I solve things. What the? Come on, not now.